Hey, how you doing? I'm going to show you what you can do if you've already got a photo edited and you want to just copy and paste it, send it over to a new folder you're working on, and then go from there. So, we're in Lightroom right now. I've got a photo that I've edited previously, which I'll show you which one I did. It wasn't this one. But I really like that one. So, previously I just edited this one. So what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna right click, go all the way to the top. Don't want to copy the gradient, so I'm gonna go into the adjustment settings right here, right click, copy edit settings, and then go back to the photo we are working on, and then we can go from there. So right here I'm gonna paste the edit settings. As you see, the settings have been pasted. So before I get into anything, I want to use this for Instagram. So I'm gonna use this grid. I'm gonna keep this grid how it is, and then I want a 4:5, and then this will be the correct ratio if you want to use it for Instagram. There's other ratios you can use, like 1:1, but I'm gonna keep it as this, and I think that's it pretty well. I'll get more of the sky right there, and boom. You know what, I'm gonna bring it a bit down, boom, and then there we go. From here you can carry on with editing like usual. So this is what I'm gonna do. So first of all, the exposure is quite low, so I'm gonna increase that. Contrast, I'll put that up to about 15. Then highlights, keep the highlights about there, so there's a bit more of a contrast in the sky. And then in terms of shadows, we're gonna have that right there. And then the whites, I think that's all right there. And then the blacks, I'll have that up. And I'm just gonna adjust the curves, just so I can give it the correct detailing I want. Bring that down a little, and then I'll bring that down there. And so I will adjust the texture. I want a little bit more texture, a slight more clarity, and dehaze, I'll leave dehaze 27, that's fine. So with all that adjusted, the micro adjustments made, now you can go into the masking. And in terms of the masking, straight away I do a subject mask. And then I will increase the subject's exposure, increase the contrast. Highlights, you want to play about with the highlights, see what works well. And I think more highlights work well here, so plus 34 doesn't make too much of a difference. Shadows, I'm going to go on to increase the shadows to make the vehicle pop a bit more. And then whites, bring that down, and then blacks, get that -4, I'm fine with that. I'm gonna change the tint slightly to -5, and then in terms of the saturation, I'm happy it being -1, that's fine. And then saturation will go up slightly, +28, that's fine for me. I'm not gonna play with the hue, but I'm gonna play with the texture. So texture I will bring up slightly to +14. Clarity, never want to go +20 with that, no more than +20, so I'm gonna pull it at +6. And dehaze is going up, so the mirror hasn't got any reflections, the window hasn't got much reflections right there, so that's fine. And I think that's good. So now I'm gonna go straight onto the sky mask. As you see, selected the sky pretty well. The sky is red, and that's the selection it's made for me, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna bring I think the exposure is completely fine, in fact. Contrast will go slightly up. Highlights, I think that's alright, -8. The shadows, I'm gonna bring the shadows up just to make sure the clouds don't look fake, and the whites, and bring that slightly up. The biggest thing is you don't want the shadow, the clouds to look fake, so I'm really not trying to touch it too much. In terms of the blacks, I'll turn that up as well, so the shadows don't look fake. As you see, it looks faker and faker as the more black you remove. So there we go, that's plus 24, that's fine. And in terms of temperature, I want it to be like a really sunset, moody feeling, so plus 15 there. And then I'm gonna adjust the saturation first before touching the tint, because you'll see probably purples crop up the more you saturate. You can see a bit of purples there, so I think plus, it's a bit too much in my opinion. I think that's fine, plus 20 is fine, and then dial it back there. You see right at the top how the purples just dissipate the more green tint you add. Oh, I think that's fine right there now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just texture. I like to remove the texture in the sky and the clarity to give that cloud more of a realistic look, and then I'll slightly dehaze it, and that's fine. And because you can see the reflections are mostly coming from the right side, what I'm going to do is add a radial gradient. So you press R for the radial gradient, it's automatically come up here, or you can create a new mask, which is the radial gradient right here. But we've already pressed R, so it's shown up for us. I'm going to create that radial gradient right here. And then all you have to do is just dehaze it. And as you see, it creates more of a sunlight texture right here. And you can increase the amount, which I'm going to do slightly, not too much. Just say 115, and that creates more of that sunlight reflection. And then what you can do from there is just, what I like to do is add a linear gradient. And then it creates a shadowy type figure right in the corner, decrease the shadows. And then while I'm at it, I'm gonna create all my other linear gradients right here. Decrease slightly. And from the top as well. Decrease slightly. Slight exposure decrease. And then you can add a radial gradient as well around the vehicle, but I'm gonna do that shortly. But first, I'm going to do a background select. I see selected the background, but it's selected part of the vehicle as well. So I'm going to subtract by using a brush. And then what I can do is just paint out what I don't want included in the background, which we don't want none of this. I'm going to increase that slightly by scrolling the wheel up. The wheel right here, as you see, moves up and down as I scroll. And because the background wasn't, I'm gonna press, that's fine. Because the background wasn't selected too well, I'm gonna check the subject mask as well to see how much was selected in that. See, that did a decent job, but I also want to add a little bit. So I'm gonna add using a brush as well. And then I'm gonna basically do the same thing. It's not selecting it correctly right now. It's not showing me what's about right now correctly. Sometimes that will happen, but I'm just gonna use my eye to just select it correctly. And I think that's fine. So back onto the background mask right here. And then I'm gonna instantly decrease exposure, contrast slightly up, highlight slightly down. Shadows will go slightly down. The whites at -8. And the blacks slightly down just to get them more focused on the vehicle. And then in terms of the texture, what do we want to do here? I'm going to decrease the texture. Slightly decrease the clarity. And add dehaze. And on top of that, now I'm going to add another radial mask. So you just press R again, and then I'm gonna increase it out to right here. and then you can adjust it right here by just playing about with this, but I'm fine, that's fine. And then what I'm going to do is invert it so the outside of the mask is going to be selected. So press invert, and as you see, there's going to be a lot of blur from inside the car coming out. As you see, when I adjust it, a lot of the car is still selected. So what I'm going to do is go onto the mask. I'm going to extend it to the point where it's outside the vehicle, but not too much, because now if you see, you can see a bit of a blur around the vehicle, and you can see where it is exactly, and then you go out there and this is what it kind of look like. It's just gonna look like there's no transition between. So let me undo that, and I think that's fine. And then I'm not going to turn the exposure obviously too down, but I'm going to keep it to those levels right there. Enter, and I think I'm kind of happy with that, but I want to slightly adjust the vehicle as it's not popping out as much as I want it to. So I want to increase that. As you keep black to 0, because on the mask it doesn't look quite right once it's been affected. But you see what I've done with the drawing right there. That was a bit of a mess, but it still works. I think I'm gonna have to subtract some of the mask, because as you see it goes outside, so I'll do that real quick. Subtract, brush, and boom, this is it. So I'm gonna show you before and after. So this is before, this is after. The settings work very great. There's a bit of noise, so if you want to change the noise a little bit, right click, enhance, and it will show you quickly what it previously looked like, and with the enhance it will look like that. So I'm going to enhance that real quick, and then we'll sort of see how much it changes. So slowly advancing right now, enhancing right now. We shall see how this turns out. I'm hoping it turns out pretty well. Depending on how quick your computer is, it will enhance slower or quicker. Mine's taking a bit right now, and this is how it looks enhanced, which is a lot better than I want it to be. So right here, right click, export photo, export, press export right here and choose the folder you want it to be in, and that's all you have to do. If you're more so interested in Lightroom edits, photography, anything as a whole, subscribe and post a lot more like this. There's a Discord, link in bio. I'm posting on TikTok, Instagram, on everything at Jate8Vision, all in one, or just search Jate Vision and I'll probably come up. Same name as this page. And I appreciate you guys for watching, and just look out for more content. I've got a lot of things planned out, and yeah, see you later.